a run, then we make the run, and just, they came in and got into us. The Bowser kid, got them all fired up by denying everything and, fighting with Lauren. And Lauren, we finally answered, I think, about the 10.5-minute mark and go on our run. But it starts with the defensive intensity because it was just so much drive and kick, ISO one-on-one. There wasn't a lot of second and third side for them. They do a really good job. That's got some perimeter guards that can just play you one-on-one and get to the rim or raise up and shoot a couple tough twos. And once we finally forced more tough twos and got some tough rebounds in front of the rim, then we get an opportunity to go in transition. And then Chelsea's lose because scouting report defense, there's no scouting report defense for transition. I mean, everybody's running and trying to sprint and trying to make a good pass, and we throw a couple of really good balls to her and a couple and ones and a couple, and then Nat hits the big three, and then we stick all those free throws down the stretch. But give them credit. I mean, battle. I said last year, and I whispered it because I was afraid it might come true, and it did. I said, if that kid can figure out how to score from behind the line from the three, she's a pro. I mean, because she did not shoot it last year. She never even stepped outside the three. So for her ability to raise up and shoot a pull-up like she does, as hard as she can go and elevate like she does. There was a ball wedged in the rim in the K-State game, and she stood there and just took a step up and knocked it out at 5'8". The kid has to have a 40-inch vertical easily, and she uses that on a jump shot. And then her ability to finish at the rim. But we really felt like the second time around, it's really important to look at, okay, second time, but it was a game plan going into the first one. We tried to do some more things with Baker. We didn't have as much success. But she's watching film. We're watching film. What worked for us? Where's that kid's sweet spot? Where does she score? What's her efficiency? So I was saying out there, coaches win practice. Players win games. So we talked to them about, then your job is, if that's what we're trying to do, if that's her spot and she gets there and scores and is effective 10 times, okay, let's get it to 6. And those other 4 times make her go somewhere else. And when she gets to the offensive foul driving it left, that's what we're talking about. And it's magnified the second time because we're both doing the same thing. Okay, what worked? How do we want to ISO? Where do we want to put people offensively? And I thought defensively we weren't sharp. We didn't have a lot of energy. We didn't play things right as far as not sets, about tendencies. Because if I'm really good doing one thing, we got, again, those guys are too good to take away all of it. But if we can cut it in half or 40%, limit that, and when we did, and we did a better job during that stretch, and Asia takes the huge charge on Baker, who had taken 6 on us at their place and protected the rim, and then we get it's 5 seconds left, and they run the lob play on the baseline out of bounds play, and we turn them over and go get a layup. That's a 4-point swing in a tight one, and it gives us, and because we always say not every play is created equal. If that's a defensive rebound and it's a defensive rebound and we score on a half-court offense, that doesn't feel the same as a turnover, layup. We got you on that. We didn't let you score on the out-of-bounds play, which they lob it up to her, and half the time you think she might dunk it. But we turn them over. Those are that play. If that's a defensive rebound and score on a half-court offense, it doesn't feel the same. So you have to manufacture your own energy points, energy opportunities there, and then respect that we're into the second half of it, and it's a dogfight. And there's a bunch of us that are clawing and scrapping and trying to get our head above water.
Was that what you said? I mean, obviously the timeout, they go up 7. And that was when you responded with the run.
Well, I said to him,
something amazing.
Well, no, I wish, no. I wish, yeah. They were that easy. All I said, do you feel what it is defensively? And they kind of looked at me. I said, well, I'm a little alarmed. We don't realize it's just our inability to contain one-on-one. Because it got to the rim and we didn't help. Because I said at halftime, I said, okay, if I'm guarding the ball, so I always make that about me, if I'm not a good defender, if I'm guarding the ball, everyone behind me should think, what? You're getting beat. I said, well, you need to think about that, all your teammates, because right now we're not able to stay in front of anybody, right? And we can't cushion because they all shoot the three. The zone wasn't, they're 4 for 10 from the three, and 4 different guys hit them. So I didn't feel comfortable just sitting in the zone and hope they don't make a bunch of shots. I said, so position yourself. If you're the deepest guy and it's in a wing, position yourself, talk yourself into, be pessimistic. That guy gets beat, I need to make sure I put myself in a position to help on the drive, and then the next guy's got to help the helper, because then they let go of one and got a layup when we slid over. I said, but we can't just fall asleep because we're not guarding the ball on the other side, because what are you going to guard the ball, 2 seconds? Maybe once in a possession? Sit down and do the best you can to stand. And we got some tough shots, some tough twos, and then they came off the rim, mid lane, and then we went. But yeah, so that's what it was. There wasn't a play. There's not a certain play they ran. And they played in the middle of the floor. Think about it, what we call the corridor, which is the rim's right in front of you, so there's not forcing anybody. You got to fight them, turn and run and fight to the elbows, try to keep it and fan it. So we did a better job there. And then we get some high percentage shots and some and ones, and those are momentum plays. And then Nat hit the big 3.
How pleased were you with the pace of the offense tonight?
Not very good. I thought we got stuck. I thought they Everybody calls it different. We call it blue, they call it ice, the guys call it down, an on-ball screen. They jump on top of it and don't let you try to use the on-ball screen to the middle of the floor. And then when you have a guy in the corner, which we do a lot in motion, then it gets stuck. And it took us a while to get out of it on one side of the floor. I thought we missed opportunities to throw Chelsea the ball in the middle of the floor, because when the ball's on the baseline, you can load up and wall up and help, because everybody's on the weak side. When the ball's in the middle of the floor and you have shooters on the outside, that's why Lauren gets the and-one, because she's driving it at Terriel and Nat, and both those guys start to shade, and Lauren takes it and gets an and-one at the rim. So when those opportunities presented themselves, and when we watch it, there'll be more than we took. But we got stuck. We got stuck because they just kind of cut the court and tried to keep us on one side, which that's what everybody wants to do, because offensively we want to go to the second and third side.
How did you like having 5 in double figures tonight besides the 3 seniors scoring in double figures? How about Shayla and Lauren?
Yeah. Well, those guys, have an opportunity to step up, and as much as they clog the lane with Chelsea in there, but the play that's not going to be in an article is the inside-out kick-out three from Bunny to Shea. That it gets collapsed and it's a paint touch. It's a ball in the paint. Doesn't matter if it's a pass or a drive, and we're really efficient, and so is everybody else in America. When the ball comes in, and make a good decision, and Bunny didn't have it. She didn't have a rhythm, kicked it out. Shay's sitting there begging for the ball, being a greedy receiver and being a ready shooter, and hits it. That's a big play, because there's not room for her to do anything, because as I told Chelsea, I said, there's not room to put it down, even facing in the lane. There's no room to put it down because it's so crowded. Asia got you went lane line, I think, left in the first half. I think one of your first or second possessions. That angle was better for us. We just didn't get enough. And we make free throws down the stretch, because that's where we get some separation.
Everything at her. Did you coach that out of her, or did she just come in?
No, she's that's good, because she's gotten a lot better about catch, pass fake, and then get her head up. She recognizes press offense, the less dribbles the better, because we can all, you can advance the ball faster on a pass and you could dribble that thing up. And what typically what young point guards do, they don't trust themselves to let go of it, especially with all that speed and athleticism. She did a good job of, and then around her we had guys found windows in press offense, so she got it ahead, got it across half court, where she used to, because I start watching the shot clock to make sure we're not getting a 10-second count, and she was across at 5. She's grown really from a maturity in a sense that I need to advance that and not try to dribble it too much. And I always say 2 dribbles and get rid of it. And if you can do it in 1, do it in 1. Because they were trying to try, because it was their ball on a jump the whole last 3.5 minutes. As I said, stay off the sideline, try to jump ball, because it's going to be their possession back. And that's where that's where when Chelsea caught that one in the corner. Chelsea Gardner.
You talked about the dogfight mentality,
yeah.
and obviously it was that way at their place. It was that way here most of tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, is there something about the 2 teams that match up that way? Or?
Well, I think both have, you look at them, arguably one of the best guards in the league, and I think we've got one of the best bigs in the league. So we play through them and play around them. So then it's how can you limit her touches and how can we limit Battle's touches, and then for them it's how do you take advantage of your advantage, because at their place, they went 7 for 10 from the 3, and 5 out of the 6 in the first half were by bigs. They stretched them, ran them off screens, and spread them. Then can we play in the paint and take advantage of our advantage? So I think both, but oftentimes it's the guys around them that are the difference makers, that don't get caught watching. They don't get caught watching Battle play, and we don't get caught watching Chelsea play. Oftentimes, and when you do that and you just stand, then your offense becomes stagnant. But I thought at times we tried to drive and kick and get to the rim, and I thought Asia gave us some pressure, and Shayla got some tips and offensive rebounds, so better. But both teams are similar, just different guys. Different positions.
What do you think about Oklahoma State coming in?
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times watching someone else. I know they beat Iowa State, Brittany Martin off of, I think it's an out-of-bounds play with about 2 seconds left. Martin can score like these guys. Donahoe can score. They have a little freshman, sophomore point guard now that played behind what's her the point guard last year that's playing Bias. Thank you. I had nightmares, so I should remember her name. So she's done a good job, and really athletic lefty kid, and he played same thing. Everybody's good. The coaches are good in this league. They'll play scouting report defense. They've traditionally played us a lot of 2-3. But both, somebody said they lost to Baylor at home, and but prior to that they go over to Iowa State and win, and hang in there like we did and win in a 1-possession game. So we'll have our hands full. I know personnel, because there are so many returning players and how talented they are, but we'll have our hands full, and it's a great opportunity for us to continue our run here and get another W, and then obviously with the paint game, just to celebrate those that are survivors that are here, and certainly honor those that aren't here, and great energy with Pink Zone game.
What kind of adjustments have you made? You guys have been going on a little bit of a run. You had that 3-game winning streak, and then you guys lost at Baylor on Sunday and come
Right.
back with a huge win.
Well, the two things, and they'll tell you, when we don't turn the ball over, we give ourselves a chance, and we've won, right? And we play with more energy on the defensive end, because I think there are three things that define your team. I said it early in the year, and the definition wasn't to our favor, but I believe that has changed now. Three things: how hard do you compete? How hard do you compete when things are bad? Like when you go down, and think about it, 2 of our road wins we were down, one big and one pretty big. 8 at Iowa State feels like 17 anywhere else. And then how hard do you compete on the defensive end? And especially the second time around, because everybody knows what everybody's doing. And then you got to manufacture, get some rebounds, get out in transition, score at the free throw line, got to manufacture some things. And those three things, when we asked ourselves those questions, 3 weeks ago, we didn't like the answer, that we weren't who we were supposed to be. That answer has changed now, but we still have to get better. I mean, those are areas for us to improve, but if you look at it, that's really true. Now, there are more in the game, but I think that's pretty fair. It really identified us early, and I think it is now.
Any last questions?
Get your ice skates or your snowmobiles, all you Southerners.